This one right here got a little out of control. It got a little crazy, bro.
When Roger Goodell stands up, not necessarily against Trump's attack against DEI, but stands up and says that's separate from what we're doing, he doesn't have to look any further than Trump's cabinet. You mean to tell me those are the most qualified people politically to do those jobs? Those are the most experienced people to do those jobs? President Trump is the exact reason you need diversity, equity, and inclusion.
It's about making sure that there is white supremacy in this country. And if we're honest, we will say that.
But we're treated to sort of similar comments to what Kerry made tonight about race, white supremacy, all of Trump's ideology and people and voters and everything. It's all about white supremacy. This was rejected in the election. Democrats ran this was the animating thing of the Harris campaign, and it was rejected.
Okay.
Was it?
And I am constantly shocked at what you're not aware of, which is Donald Trump's performance.
I'm constantly shocked at what you're not aware
Wait,
of.
I don't know. I tend to be more right about it than you are. But the reality is he did better. He did better among minority voters than any Republican in a half a century.
Yeah,
I seem to be totally unaware of that.
But it's also true.
But if you're going to come out and call half the country a white supremacist, I think you've got to explain it.
I didn't say the country. I said this was about white supremacy because what he ran on was making America great again, which is another code word. You like to say woke.
But you're saying the election was about white supremacy.
I'm saying what Trump was about was making sure he stays back.
You know, this is a very difficult topic for me to just choose one side because diversity, equity, inclusion makes a lot of sense on both sides. On a part, as a black man, diversity, equity, inclusion makes a lot of sense because there has been a lot of discrimination. There has been a lot of, historically and to this day, you know, things that have happened that try to block black people from getting opportunities, right? Especially when they're qualified for it. The part that I don't like about diversity, equity, inclusion is that it allows unqualified people of certain groups to get certain positions, and it just makes things look bad. You know, it just makes, I don't know, I don't say it makes things look bad, but they should have certain laws where everything should be, in my opinion, everything should be based on merit based. It should be based on, are you qualified for the position based on your skill set, not based on what community or background you come from. Are you qualified for that position? And the only reason is because I don't really want to get too crazy, too deep into the topic, but it's like, I don't think companies should be forced to hire a certain type of person or whatever. But at the same time, this game is kind of rigged in my opinion. Why are all the owners in the NFL rich white owners? Why are all the owners in the NBA rich white owners? Why are all the top Fortune 500 companies owned by white people? Well, it's because there have been black people in the past who've tried to get companies to get at that level or that height. But I believe that there is a certain good old boys club and they try to block certain things. I really believe that. So that's where diversity, equity, inclusion comes in, because people need to survive. You can't block people of an opportunity to feed their family and provide for people that love them, that they love, because of what background or group or community they come from, you know? So that's why I'm not totally on one side, but I'm not totally on the other. I think everything should be merit-based, but because the game, in my opinion, is rigged, they had to come up with things like diversity, equity, inclusion, and things like that, because all the bull crap and all the games people play and try to block people from opportunities, especially when they're qualified, you know?
Issue in this country right now is we live in different realities.
That's right.
I live in a reality where I know I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
and
that
I know,
too.
let's go.
And you know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city.
I'm not talking about New York. I'm talking about actually.
Let her finish.
I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all of y'all added up together at this table,
Fine
right?
by me.
And I have always been the least paid person on payroll at every institution I have worked in. And it's not because...
Even in the White House?
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think you worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess what happened when I was there? DEI.
Scott.
Look,
I'm head Scott.
Look,
that got kind of tense. I actually was talking to somebody one time, and they said the reason why women get paid less than men in, like, say a woman and a man work the same type of job. They said the reason why in a lot of situations women get paid less than men. And I was talking to somebody about this. It said because when it comes to a promotion, getting a promotion and things like that, climbing the corporate ladder, women aren't historically good at negotiating, where a man is better at negotiating. So, they'll sit in the office and they say, I think I need a raise of 15%, 10%, 5%, whatever. And whenever that conversation happens, it is believed that women usually choose like the first offer because they're just so appreciative. And it makes sense. They feel like, I'm just glad that I got this far, where a man is more certain of their value and they'll decline certain offers, risking not getting a promotion at all because they're like, either you're going to promote me or I'm going to leave. Are you going to promote me for what I think I'm worth? Basically, men are better at negotiating than women when it comes to promotions. And that's why people believe that women get paid less for the same position in a lot of jobs, is because it has everything to do with negotiation. And that's totally their fault. If that's the case, if that's the situation, that's literally totally their fault. It is. Just get better at negotiating, So, because nobody told you to accept that pay or accept that amount. You chose to accept that job offer or that job payment or that wage. You know what I'm saying? The wage the financial that you were getting. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
You're my friend. I respect you tremendously. I think you're probably the smartest operative in the Democratic Party, and they should listen to you more. That's number one. Number two, you and I share a comparable background. We're both from the Midwest. We both come from middle-class families, lower middle-class families maybe. I actually think we share a lot of similarities in our journey. But I think you made it, and you are the most respected voice often at every room or every table you're in, not because of anything other than your talent and your work ethic. And that's all anybody ever is asking for, is for people with talent and work ethic to make it. And that's what I see in you. That's how I see you.
But let me tell you something about my story and my family's story, is that we have faced discrimination. I have faced discrimination. I just said I was the least paid person, even in this moment sometimes, to my counterparts. It is just the reality of the country we live in. And I'm not saying, I do believe I'm qualified. I know I'm qualified. You won't ever tell me I'm not qualified. But the system that I live in doesn't matter about my qualifications.
I don't agree, because
when 2025. Oh, come on. I don't think we're there in 2025.
You can't deny her saying
that.
That's just not true.
There's a mountain of evidence that suggests that you are wrong. Okay, let's just take Ashley.
I'm a New Yorker, so I'm jaded. I am the Attorney General is a black woman. The mayor's a black man. The head of the Senate is a black man.
Okay, New York is a small representation.
Well, small. New York is not that small.
America.
Politics. Let me talk about
every judge I appear before is either a woman or a person of color.
Ashley just gave an anecdote, but the numbers also show black women are one of the most educated demographics in this country and one of the least paid. Why would that make any sense?
Why would that make any sense? And don't talk to me about the judges you stand before. Talk to me about the theory. Talk to me about the world in which we live in and
let's
the
look
system
at the United States Supreme Court. How could you say we're not going to look at that from the top to the bottom? And I'm talking about the legal system.
New York is a more progressive.
And we just got a black woman.
Hold up. Let me.
We just got a black woman on the
board. We had a black man from the 70s.
You brought up the Supreme Court.
Or the 60s.
One.
Did you know, Arthur, that there are many...
Hold on. What percentage of it does it represent the United States of America?
Why does it matter? So we got to go by numbers?
Why is it so hard?
Oh, you saw that look on that guy's face? He's like, bro, I know I'm getting paid to be here, but I think I'm about to up my pay. I'm about to go somewhere else, bro. This is too much. Yeah, they're just talking over each other, bro. That is too much, bro. We live in a world, yes, of course, there's going to be discrimination, things like that. Everybody wants to be treated fairly. As a black man, I've experienced levels of discrimination in different arenas. But the problem with, I think, a lot of black women, black people, I'll say, just black people in general from my experience, is that they'll talk about the struggles, which are valid struggles. They'll talk about the times that they were discriminated against. They'll talk about the times that we will talk about the times. I'll say we, because I do it too. We'll talk about all the times that we experience being treated unfairly because of the community that we come from. But we never talk about the times that people treated us fairly. Our complaints are so much louder than our appreciation. We're not always experiencing that. Do we experience discrimination? Yes. It's really hard talking to black people about this, honestly, because even though what I'm saying is logical, there's so much trauma in them associated with the things that we have gone through in this country that they don't want to hear the logic of what I'm even trying to say. And the logic is facts. Every experience that us black people have is not always discrimination when we walk into certain situations. It's not always like that. Does it happen? Yeah, but not all the time. And I think on the outside, people who are not a part of my community, they're like, dang, bro, like, when are y'all gonna stop all y'all do is complain. Things be good, y'all don't say nothing when things are good, but then when something ain't good, y'all complain. To them, they probably think no matter what is always bad. Y'all always feel like things are bad. I don't know, bro. I know I get annoyed of it, and I'm a black man.
What she just said.
Why is it just one? Why is there only one Italian American?
No, but why is it so hard for you to acknowledge what she just said about black women being the most educated?
I did acknowledge it. I said that's not my experience.
Okay, but because you're not
more
a
black women on the street.
No, I'm a New Yorker, and that's
New
not
York
the way
is not
it is.
representative of the rest
You're
of America.
correct.
That's also what's
correct.
important.
It's also the most diverse city in the country.
Well, that's exactly.
Like,
So of
why
course
wouldn't
there's
it be?
more
I think it's a
representation
little
in
more
women.
representative.
And Scott, I think if you really see, you said something very beautiful. This is your friend. You guys share a lot of the same values. You guys think alike. You guys are literally friends off air. Mm-hmm. You text, you have good conversations. There is the yes and in that. There is something that says to me that you know what she's saying is true. You think she's smart. You know that she's smart. She's more educated than mostly everyone at this table. And so what she's saying isn't a lie. What she's saying is a real life experience. And so why is it so hard to understand why something like diversity, equity, inclusion needs to be a part of what we do in a system that never even acknowledged a group of people, never saw us as a human commodity, just literally never noticed who we were. And now here we are years later asking for some simple rights, some simple civilities. She's asking to be paid like you get paid. She's asking to be acknowledged like you get acknowledged. And she knows that that is not the case because she is a black woman.
She had a high-ranking position in the White House of the United States of America.
Dear friend,
she is one of the most celebrated political operatives in the country.
Do you know how hard I had to work to get that?
Do you know how hard the son of a garbage man had to work at it? So I'm just telling you.
For somebody to be so smart, she basically had a high position at the White House. For 3 of the people sitting at that table to be black women. I don't see not one black man there, unfortunately, but 3 of the 5 or 6 people will be sitting there to be black women. And for them to talk about the lack of opportunities and all that type of stuff, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. And then they compare their the comparison thing. They get paid less than such and such and all this type of bull crap, bro. You at somebody else's company telling them what they should do with their money and things like that. You accepted the position. You crying. You accepted the position, bro. Bro, this is some weird stuff, bro. I remember Terry Crews said on Shannon Sharp not too long ago. He said he never complains about the amount that he gets paid for a movie because he accepted it. Y'all sitting up there getting paid more than 95% of America, probably. More than 90% of Americans. Y'all black women are up there complaining. Are you kidding me? What are y'all complaining about? Y'all gonna find something to complain about, bro. It's crazy. Like, I don't know, black women in general. I feel like if it was black men up there, I'm gonna say black women. I feel like black men up there, they wouldn't be complaining like that, bro. That's just a black woman thing. I know women ain't gonna like that. That's just facts, bro. That's facts, bro. That's a cultural thing, bro. You got to where you got to through hard work, which is how it's supposed to be. Then say, you know how hard I had to work to get here? And they're like, you know how hard they had to work? Everybody had to work hard to get to where they are. What are you talking about?
Talent and work ethic are everything. And that's why I think you're here.
It's not true. It's just not true. It's just not true.
The other thing is, the access to opportunity is, I know you don't want to think that that is true, but access to opportunity is what DEI is supposed to address. And not just when it comes to race, although race is important, but when it comes to women, when it comes to people with disabilities, when it comes to people from different socioeconomic brackets from rural parts of the country.
I think that's the
other-
biggest issue. There's different socioeconomic brackets
So now
more
we're
than
trying
race
to
and gender.
say, now we're trying to say that everything is equal just because I say it is, even though all the evidence.
Who said everything is equal?
Well, that's literally
everything is
we're already living in a meritocratic society, is what Scott and his colleagues want to say, when that's actually factually not true.
Do you not think
Factually,
everything is equal?
But I think it's
I don't
generally,
think everything- of
it's
course not.
generally
So
true.
so actually, okay,
But I think,
okay,
I think
then
it
let's
should,
talk.
it'll seek its own level. I don't think the government should be telling us to
Arthur,
seek
Okay,
its
but
own level.
but you
DEI is
literally
not
earlier
about, hold on,
just said-
DEI is not about the government. Y'all are talking to private companies
Yes,
and telling them you can't
do
operate
it. It's
about
the
both.
way you
I
want to
think, but
operate.
Arthur,
But
you
it is
literally
about
just said, I don't think it will seek itself out, because you literally just said human nature. That's how we operate.
That's
so
right.
sometimes,
Yes,
which is why the
I
civil
think
rights
it's more
movement
so-
was
I think
so
it's more
important.
socioeconomic
Because- and
than it is
this is why, like, when they
racial.
talk about like canceling the Department of Education, why they talk about the federal government. The reason why the federal government was so important, particularly for Black people to seek justice in this country, is because it was the one bastion of hope that people had when states took control and they had discriminatory practice laws.
Okay, but
the
that was a long
Supreme
time
Court.
ago now.
What? How long ago? Tell me how long ago was that?
That was a long
How long
time
ago
ago.
was that?
We gotta go. We gotta go, but it was not that long ago.
I know.
It was
it's
okay.
let
It was
him
not
tell
that long ago.
Yeah, it's
It was
so
in
long
Ashley's
ago.
father's lifetime. It was in
prepped
my
to
parents'
talk.
lifetime.
I do think it's weird to tell a private company who they should and shouldn't hire based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is quite weird, I'm not gonna lie. But what's even more crazy is that just like a company decides not to hire a certain group of people, that group of people can also decide not to give that company business. The problem with my community, I believe, right, in general, when we look at like, just in general, is that a company could say, we don't want to hire y'all, but if their product or service is good, we will still give them business. That's the problem. The power is more in the people's hands than they like to give themselves credit for. You're trying to force a company to hire you to do all these type of things. Just hit them on a consumer level. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if you don't want to hire certain people for certain things and you think that's okay, then don't give them your business. I don't understand like making a company not, have to put a certain person in their company based on certain things. Like, I don't understand how I make that into a law. The thing is, we need to be more unified as people whenever they discriminate against our group, or, whenever a company discriminates against a certain group, that group needs to say, we're not going to give y'all business, period. Once that happens, once you start affecting their money, then they will say, sorry about that. We'll do diversity, equity, inclusion by default without the law getting involved. Or they'll say, yeah, we still don't need y'all business. We good. We'll take 30-40% less profit a year. We're cool with that. Then cool. That's their choice. I think that would make more sense. But what we don't want to address as a community is that we're not unified enough to do stuff like that, like they were in the 60s with Martin Luther King. So, but I wish things were different, but I just think that people, in a perfect world, companies would hire people based on their qualifications and pay them based on, how qualified they are. And in a perfect world, people, knowing that it's a competitive world, will try to get as qualified or as skilled as possible so that they can maximize on their opportunities. Have a great day.